first of all then, quick turnaround of course. On the injury front, are there any new problems?
No, not from the game. Usual bumps and bruises you get from games. Bill's settled down well, which is good. So, yeah, all good as we could hope.
Do you? I know you're reticent to sort of put timescales on things, but do you see Sharp being back involved anytime soon?
Sooner rather than later, yeah, sooner rather than later. This game's going to come too soon for him. But like I say, he's got the usual footballer's ankle, and it's had a bit of battering and this and the other, and it swelled up in response. And getting that swelling down, I've just left him there hopping and jumping about and telling me he's fit. So he's settling down well.
Right. Doyle was not so far off the other day. How is he nearer for this one?
Yeah, Tommy's been. I just kept the same squad. We had Jebbo come in for Sharpie, and I just kept the same squad after the Swansea game. I say, listen, when we get everyone back fit and available, I'm going to be leaving good players out of the 18. So that's all that was. He's fit. He's ready to go.
How much is it in the mind, whether through fatigue issues or whatever, to make changes for Millwall?
Yeah, fatigue. If people come through okay, like I said, bumps and bruises, the turnaround as an issue. But I think he's still probably tactically and trying to win the game that's more important, because we get the 5 subs now. Do you know what I mean? It is less important. If you start seeing any sort of fatigue or there's any risk with anyone, you can make change at half time. You've still got 3 changes. You can make 5 changes in the second half, So I think it's more a case of that, planning for potential changes and the use of the squad.
We were talking after the match, weren't we? And you were talking about the performance. Having seen it back, is your impression of the match still the same? Yeah,
still the same. I think probably our players and the rest of the staff were a bit surprised. Listen, we weren't at our best, as I've been to say that, but in terms of what we normally produce and chances and we were way above his average for the season. So, for example, I think our average amount of shots in the opposition's box is 10 with 4 on target. We had 14 with 10 on target. So I knew at the time the things we were doing well. I also knew the things we were getting wrong. And likewise, Borough's was the same as their average. 8 shots inside the box and 4 on target, and arguably we gave them the best chance through the tackle, which was unlucky in the edge of the box, and the referee helped them out with that break when we're overloaded, 4v3. So, but the result and the goals will always dictate how you feel in the game. So you get what you deserve out of it. We didn't take ours at one end and we got punished at the other.
You mentioned in part of the answer there, surprised at the response. A lot of fans left at 3 and there was a bit of booing at the end. Does that take you by surprise?
Yeah, I think the booing would have been at the referee. I don't think it would have been at the players.
Well, lots of fans running around social media suggest that maybe it was an element of both.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that.
Have you had a response from the powers that be following getting sent off? Not necessarily about getting sent off, but to the ideas, the concerns you have since the other day?
No, and it's separate issues. I'm leading on my conversation with the referees because I want to know what's happening, which way we're going with the game. It'll be the FA who contact me with regarding the sending off and that procedure that they have.
When does that come to a close, as it were? Some form of touchline ban or what have you?
Yeah, we'll see what. So they'll contact me when they've got all the information they need, the information from the referees. Videos will be put to me. I'll have a chance to give my side, and then you get whatever punishment is dished out. Listen, I'm not. I was wrong to get sent off. It's not that, and like I said, that's why the 2 separate issues. I was wrong to be sent off. It's me who's going to suffer. But the reasons behind my frustrations will probably continue. Do you know what I mean? But I don't want that. That's not an excuse for what I did. I got sent off. But those things, those conversations, I need to keep continuing with the referees. Definitely.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. So on that then, because you mentioned the same issue after the Swansea win, didn't you, about players staying on the feet or not? So when you have these chats, do you get an adequate response?
No, and I want to be careful what I say, because I don't want you guys to write about this is not an excuse. These conversations I've been having with them for a long time. Long time. I just think the goal we can see is a perfect example of what my gripes are about it all. The behaviours we're rewarding. So Maka was targeted with different types of fouls on and off the ball. With the only time we get the reward is when he hits the deck. And that's my point about it. And we have players who try and stand their feet, Ilham and Sander, Maka in particular. And we get punished for staying on our feet and trying to continue with an attack. So we can see the exact same incident happen against Swansea, where Sander makes a challenge on Fulton in the centre circle. It is a foul. Yeah. The ball breaks to Pirro. He tries to move away with the ball. Robbo makes a tackle on him. The referee brings it back for a free kick. I would have accepted that, but I still want more, because if it should be a booking when a player is fouled and it's an intentional, then the player should be booked, or we're not getting the advantage. We see, like I said, the Enel one with Fosu at Rotherham, it's a good bit of defending in my eyes. His arm comes across, Fosu stops, puts his arms in the air, he gets the free kick. That's one thing against us, which is unjust, and Enel actually gets a booking. Two things. Same with Sander with Elliott Lee at Wrexham. Elliott gets across the front of him, he knows he's not going to run away, he just hits the deck, grabs the ball. Questionable foul. It's 35 yards from Wrexham's goal, Sander gets a booking. Do you know what I mean? So the pattern is, you've got to go down. So that's a pattern. This is what I want. If we're going to continue down this route and that's it, and someone wants to be brave enough to come out and tell me that, no, you got fine, but then we'll go down like everyone else, no problem.
Presumably, though, at the minute the instruction stays the same. Stay on your feet.
What, from the referee?
From you,
what
no,
say
from
to
you
me?
to your players.
No, we listen. We're having conversations about it, definitely.
Millwall then next as the next opponent. What are you expecting from them?
What they've been successful at. I think they're on the most points they've had so far at this stage of any season. They've been finishing strong over the other previous seasons, so we know what we face. Yeah, almost 2/3 of the goals from set plays. It's the same conversation that we have. They'll try and get the tempo of the game up. They'll try and turn us to get up the pitch. It's going to be a tough game. The atmosphere will be better than the FA Cup game. There'll be more crowd in. It'll be. Well, I hope it's full house. It should feel that way. So yeah, it's going to be a different type of game. Yeah,
you mentioned tempo there because of the quick turnaround for Sheffield United and the early start. How important is it that Sheffield United dictate that tempo early? Yeah, it's always your aim. Always your aim. We're generally okay at that. Yeah, so it's always your aim. I mean, sometimes I think that type of thing is sometimes a little bit harder against a team who will go direct and not because you can't really stop that, but you have to deal with it first and foremost and try and impose your style on the game. So yeah, it's always the way, always. Just finally, how important is it that, whenever a team loses, there's always a lot of fuss, isn't there? That the team remind themselves, I suppose, that they still have a healthy lead on third, they still have a game in hand, there's still, they're still a top team that's got to where they've got so far. Yeah, well, that's fact. It's not. We don't need reminding. Maybe people do, but we don't need reminding. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. Like I said, they could easily have been sat there chatting to you guys after a 3-1 win, easily. But we're not. We know what we did well, we know what we did poorly. So it's nothing. How we reflect on the game is no different. I think the game and the reaction of people can make it feel different, and I think maybe that has been the case, though, speak to the staff and the players. But yeah, it's no. It doesn't change our preparation for this. The priority for this is getting that quick turnaround. We've had the day less. It's from a night game to a morning game, which is less on our part. So that's the focus, and then also preparing for what we need to deal with, like tactically and setting the team up.